In 1960, 3 wealthy women were killed in Starved Rock State Park in Illinois. It was a national news story, and the horrific crime became known as the Starved Rock murders. Within days, there was a huge break in the case. A telephone operator overheard 2 men discussing the murders on the telephone. One man stated that a guy still had bloody overalls in the trunk of a car and was afraid of getting caught. The other man responded, "Well, tell him to get rid of them, burn them." The Illinois State Police were able to trace the telephone call. The telephone call originated from a payphone in a tavern in Aurora owned by a man named Glenn Palmatier. The call was placed to the home of William Palmatier, Glenn's brother, who lived in Peru near Starved Rock State Park. These brothers clearly knew how the murders went down. They knew that there was a guy with bloody overalls in the trunk of a car, and they should have been the focus of an intense police investigation. But instead, they were inexplicably cleared. How? Why? And what happens next? Well, guess what? The LaSalle County Sheriff's Office and LaSalle County State's Attorney's Office now need a patsy, and they set their sights on 21-year-old dirt poor dishwasher Chester Weger, who worked at the Starved Rock Lodge. After a months-long campaign of harassment and coercion and surveillance, Chester is arrested without probable cause, and he's charged with the murders based on nothing. They have no evidence. The authorities can't even get a judge to issue the arrest warrants, so they go to the local grocer, a justice of the peace, to issue the arrest warrants for murder. Chester is threatened with the death penalty if he doesn't confess, and Chester ultimately succumbs to the pressure and gives the authorities a bogus and ridiculous confession that everybody knew was false on its face. Chester recants his confession as soon as he's provided with a public defender, and Chester testifies at his trial in his own defense, but sadly is convicted. The state, incredibly, asked the jury to give Chester the electric chair, but the jury refuses, and Chester is sentenced to life in prison. Fast forward over 50 years, and I become aware of the case and undertake an investigation on Chester's behalf. I was able to conduct DNA testing on a hair found on one of the victim's fingers. The DNA profile came back to a male, not Chester Weger. I was then able to conduct cutting-edge genetic genealogy testing on that hair, and the hair was traced to one of 3 brothers, the Bray brothers, who lived near Starved Rock State Park at the time of the murders. However, the state's attorney's office and the court outrageously dismissed our exonerating forensic evidence. There was a colossal cover-up in 1960, and there was a colossal cover-up in 2025. Sadly, Chester died a few days after the court denied his post-conviction petition. Check out my crowdfunding page, as my son and I are going to make a short scripted film about the case. This colossal cover-up needs to be shown. People need to be made aware of what really happened.